If you're about to go to university for your first year as a law student, I know you're probably going through a lot of excitement, stress, and anxiety right about now. I know I look old, but I was actually in the exact same position as you just a few years ago. If you're starting in September, the next 6 weeks are actually crucial for setting you up for success. In this video, I'm going to give you 7 essential tips to prepare you for your first year at university. Not just academically, but socially. Along the way, I'll also be providing you with links that can help to save you both time and money, including a resource that could save you over £200 to make your transition into university life as seamless as absolutely possible. Hi, I'm Arya, and I'm currently a trans-femme legal professional and academic lawyer. My focus on this channel is on providing practical personal, professional, and legal tips for the LGBTQ community. But not so long ago, I was just like you, going through that deer-in-the-headlights moment of facing my first year as a law student. I graduated from Oxford Brookes in 2020 with an LLB, and then I completed my LLM in legal practice at the University of Sunderland in 2021. Like I said, I may look old, but my university experience is very recent. As a quick note before we begin my top tips, I'm a believer in full transparency. This video does contain paid promotion in the form of affiliate links, and if you use them, I will receive a very small reward in return. However, I'm not just link spamming you. Every link has been curated by me to either provide a list of university essentials or save you money, and you're under absolutely no obligation to use them. Tip number 1 literally saved my first year, and it's not what you think. Forget those endless uni essentials lists that want you to buy absolutely everything. I'm talking about the 5 Ps. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. If you're watching this before you start university, you and your parents have probably already been fussing over making sure you have everything you need for your first year. If you're staying in halls, you'll be worried about basic supplies for life. Bedding, kitchenware, laptops, stationery, and books are always the big ones. When you arrive in halls, you're going to find yourself in this bare bones situation. You'll likely have a bed, a chair, a desk, access to a communal kitchen that you'll have to stock up yourself. University halls don't usually supply bedding or kitchen equipment. Now, obviously, I'm not going to tell you how to decorate your space. It's a personal choice, but I do recommend keeping everything beyond the bare essentials to a minimum. My golden rule is, if you can't carry it in 2 trips from your car, you've probably brought too much, and your future self will thank you during that chaotic June move out. In short, for the bedroom, you're going to need a duvet and pillows. You might have some spare at home to bring with you, or you may wish to have that lovely fresh bedding smell for your first week at university. If you don't have a laptop, I recommend that you don't go crazy. Okay, I know some of you are tempted by that £2,000 MacBook Pro, but trust me, I wrote my entire dissertation on a £150 Windows notebook that sounded like a jet engine when it got excited. I'll have a link in the description to an Amazon shopping list that will include all of these essentials, but because I'm a tech nerd, I've also added a couple of recommended budget laptops that will do everything you need for university. In the kitchen, this might well be the first time you've ever had to fend for yourself. I spent so much of my first year teaching friends and housemates how to cook for themselves. Here's a very quick list of things that you will need: cutlery, plates, bowls, a few cooking utensils, a good saucepan, and a couple of baking trays. Everything beyond that is optional, but you can survive with just those few things quite comfortably. If you're not much of a cook, let me know in the comments below, because I've actually trained as a chef, because apparently I just collect careers and qualifications. So I can always follow this up with a few videos teaching you to make some basic, low-cost, nutritious student recipes that are easy to master and quick to make. Let me know in the comments if you'd find that useful. Stationery is still important, even in the digital age. You're going to want a good supply of pens, notebooks, highlighters, post-its, paper clips, maybe a stapler. Again, I'll have those essentials on my shopping list, all of which will be low-cost, high-quality options so that you can save money without missing out. That said, Don't go too crazy, because you'll probably acquire extras of these at your freshers fair or your first student law fair, because local companies love to give free stuff away to students. Finally, books. Your university will likely provide you with a reading list well ahead of time, telling you which books you need for your course. In your first year, you'll find any 4 of the following mandatory modules, but you'll have to study them all at the end of, or by the end of second year. Constitutional, administrative, or public law, they're usually one module, sometimes they get broken down into 2. Criminal law, contract law, equity and trusts, EU law, land law, and tort law. However, there are some fantastic universal study guides that I strongly recommend buying the latest versions of to help you out. Your textbook's going to be huge, and it'll be hard to find things in when you need to complete coursework. And the guides on my shopping list will provide you with a quick reference that can save you from spending hours looking for the name of that one case you need to cite. Let me know in the comments if you think there's anything on that list that I've missed. Tip number 2 is housemates. When you move into halls, you're going to have a range of housemates with a range of personalities and backgrounds and personal problems. You won't always love all of them, but there's a decent chance that one of them is your best friend by the end of the year. Whether you find a new bestie or a new mortal enemy or both, you're going to have to live with them for 9 months. The key to this is patience and understanding. Now here's where most university guides will give you some generic roommate advice, but I'm going to tell you about something that actually happened to me that changed how I think about living with people. Because let's be real, they're probably all in the same situation as you. They're just starting university, they're away from their families for the first time, they might be in a new area or even an entirely new country. Emotions are going to be high and they're going to be unstable. The key to this, as I said before, is patience and understanding. I learned this the hard way. If someone is shy, give them time. If they're angry, give them space. If they're upset, listen to them. If they have a problem, try and help them to solve it. You're going to have to be open-minded here as well, because the university is going to deal you a random hand of cards. In my first year, I had a mixed flat, and one of my housemates was a really devout Muslim. Because of her faith, she wouldn't allow herself to be alone with any of the guys in the flat, and she wasn't comfortable living with someone queer. One of my housemates saw this as being weird or shy at first, but it was just a cultural difference for us to navigate. As she came out of her shell a little, and she'd start to join us as a group for things, we all got to learn about a different culture, and we made a really good friend. You're going to have housemates from different faiths, different countries. Some will be loud, some will be quiet, some will drink too much, some will be boring, some will have some interesting living habits, and at least one of them will never clean up after themselves. You also all face different life events. I've had a housemate who got pregnant, another who had to evacuate the country because of a pandemic. I even had a friend who had a housemate who died. Life will happen, and it's all a new challenge to navigate, a learning experience. Also, ask your flatmates about their courses. Not only will you learn some really cool things, I've lived with an architect, a fashion student, a nurse, a marketing student. I learned really cool things from all of them, just so I was able to share my knowledge as a chef or from my law course with them. Not only that, but sometimes that discussion about your class or their classes will help inspire you to rethink the concepts you're learning about, which will help make your academic work better. So be patient, communicate, and hold your temper. The second a flat turns actively hostile, it will ruin your university experience. Tip number 3 is Freshers Week. Party smarter, not harder. Here's how to have the time of your life without ending up broke, in hospital, or facing disciplinary action before October. I know you're probably excited for Freshers Week. You've got a maintenance grant that's going to be burning a hole in your pocket, and no parents to judge you when you come in drunk at 4 a.m. with a random overnight guest that you've just met 2 hours ago. I want to step in really quick and play Captain Buzzkill, but hopefully not too much. Look, I'm not going to lecture you about your social life. You're adults making adult decisions. But I am going to share what I wish someone had told me about finding balance. You chose to come to university to learn, and that has to be your number one priority at all times, even before classes start. I had 3 classmates that I remember vividly who partied like the world was ending in Freshers Week. 2 had dropped out by the end of second year, and the other barely scraped a third-class degree. Here's what nobody tells you about Freshers Week. The parties you'll forget, but the societies you join could change your entire university experience. And I'm going to prove it. As much as you might be tempted and even peer pressured into going out and partying every single night, try and limit that to maybe a couple of party events and spend the rest of the time attending things in Freshers Week that will actually provide you with value throughout your time on campus. The Freshers Fair is a great place to pick up freebies, but it's also good to get an idea of what sports and societies are on offer. Most of those societies will be offering you free taster sessions, and they're going to be far more valuable to you. In my Freshers Week, I joined everything that sounded interesting to me, and I found 4 things that I really stuck with, and I made great friends through all of them. I had a lot of fun, and I learned some really valuable life skills. I joined the LGBTQ+ Society, the Student Radio Station, and the Public Speaking Society, and I also joined the Gaelic football team. Through those things, I got to find myself, become confident speaking to people, I found my new best friend to this day, and I became a 2-time national champion. 4 societies led to lifelong friendships, national titles, and the confidence that got me through law school and into practice. That's the real return of investment on Freshers Week, not the hangovers. More importantly, by using my time more wisely, I kept myself safe and I saved a lot of money. I had friends who partied for 7 straight nights, and between drinking, substances, taxes and consequences, they spent anywhere between about £500 and £1,000 on a party they literally don't remember much of to this day. A quarter of their maintenance loan gone for nothing. As someone who already felt different, I needed to prove myself academically, and partying away my credibility wasn't an option. Let me know in the comments what you're most excited for in Freshers Week. Frankly, the consequences of overdoing Freshers actually outweighs the benefits. Because by the first week of classes, because I wasn't hungover, I'd started to build great relationships with my lecturers. That meant they became more approachable and more willing to help me understand things, because I was showing up and I was engaged. That was the foundation for my success at university. If you go into party, make sure you're prepared. And this goes for my guys, my girls, my MBs, my straights, the whole queer spectrum. Always make sure you have your hall's address saved to your phone in case you get lost. Always carry condoms, because you never know what a few drinks will lead to, but from experience, babies aren't the optimal outcome. On my shopping list, I'll add a couple of things that will help you to protect your drinks from being spiked, because the free drugs joke is funny until you end up in A&E, and a personal security device. And guys, I don't care how alpha you are, or how alpha you think you are. This responsibility falls on you as well. You might think it feels better, but child support or a trip to the clinic doesn't. Likewise, you're not immune to being drugged or assaulted, no matter how cool and tough Andrew Tate told you are. Talking about working smarter, not harder, tip number 4 is work smarter, not harder. I learned this the hard way. Throughout my time at university, I was studying full-time and I was attending every class. I was working full-time in a pub, doing 40+ hours a week. I was in 3 societies and training and playing sports at least twice a week. I had a lot of spare cash, but I was exhausted. I might still be exhausted from it. The truth is, unless you're either rich or so frugal that you're going to make yourself miserable, you are going to have to work at some point. Here's what I learned from that exhaustion. The goal isn't avoiding work entirely, it's working strategically. You're going to hear a lot of stories from people about the cool and fun things they're doing to make money. I had one friend in first year who was obsessed with crypto, and sure, he's a millionaire now. But it was a good time to invest in those days. It's a terrible idea now. I knew people who were influencers for work. I fell into the trap of becoming a YouTuber thinking that I was going to get rich. Spoiler alert, I'm back making videos because I actually have something valuable to share now, not because I'm chasing money. It turns out that earning money from these things requires far more spare time to invest than you're going to have if you're going to be a successful student. So, you're going to need a proper job. I'm sorry. It's boring. I sound like your parents. The difference, though, is that a proper job gives you structure, benefits, an actual career progression, instead of just grinding harder for uncertain returns. And always remember that your number one priority is to get that degree. Only work as much as you need to in order to survive financially. Take a job in a social environment. It'll be hard work, but working in a pub or restaurant requires no qualifications, and you'll meet a lot of cool people who will become friends. You'll also have a much more flexible schedule because your boss will understand that you're a student, not aspiring to start a career in hospitality. You might also get the inside track on some secrets in your town that students usually don't find out. In a pub especially, there's always that one guy who knows where all the cool gigs or art exhibits or film screenings are, and they're very rarely actually on campus. Like in my pub job, one of the people I met was a reasonably well-known musician, and the number of things that he would tell me about, expose me to, take me to, that just expanded my mind, massively improved my university experience, was just incredible. Talking of money, tip number 5 is budgeting. Budgeting sucks, but being broke is worse. Don't panic though, because I'm here to help, and I'm actually going to drop a few more links to save you some money. Always make sure that you know 3 things. Save them to your phone if you have to. Know when your maintenance payments are due, how much your rent is, and when that's due. Make a spreadsheet. Make sure that you've already subtracted rent from maintenance before you plan everything else. Your maintenance grants are going to come approximately 12 to 14 weeks apart, so that money's going to have to last you a long time if you aren't working. Also, budget for absolute essentials from this, and work for luxuries. There are 5 essential categories that you're going to need to pay for, and you should budget for these out of your maintenance: food, toiletries, travel, education, and entertainment. As a single person, even with the current rising prices in supermarkets, you can eat enough to survive on less than £20 a week. It won't be gourmet or glamorous, but if you're smart and careful, you'll survive. You can buy a loaf of bread for 50p, a tin of soup for 50p, veggies, ready meals, etc. Locate your local Aldi, Lidl, and or Iceland, because they'll keep you alive. Also, buy things like pasta and rice in bulk at the start of the year. You can buy like 3 kilos of pasta for less than £5, and that's enough for 30 meals. Remember that you don't need sodas, alcohol, or, even ice cream. Those are luxuries that come from your work money. Now, toiletries. Again, we might have to sacrifice some luxuries. I'm not talking about personal hygiene, but, for example, Tesco sell a perfectly good shower gel for about 35p, and toothpaste and toothbrushes for about 50p each. You can get a good quality shampoo and conditioner for £1 each. They won't be salon quality, but they'll do. And you can get all the toiletries you need, even taking into account feminine hygiene products, for about £10 a month. As a bit of a pro tip in amongst all of this, you might find your local supermarket has deals on these things during Freshers Week, so you can stock up on non-perishables like toiletries, canned food, just to save you money. And again, always look for bulk deals, because it's cheaper to buy 24 toilet rolls than it is to buy 4. Travel is a tough one. Some universities have free bus travel in the local area for students, and if yours does, that's fantastic. Your travel budget will then be nothing. If not, look up the local bus fares. Always buy the longest pass you can afford with your first maintenance grant, because it will save you money throughout the year. All bus services offer an annual pass, and it's usually working out at less than £2 a day. You're going to want to get home for holidays too, So if you have a car or your family will pick you up or can afford to pay train fares, these will be relatively cheap. If you need to get yourself home, you'll want to know how much that's going to cost. Book train tickets early because it will save you money. If you know when you're going home for Christmas in September, you can save quite a lot of money. Now, education. Your course will require books, and they're not cheap. I'm really sorry, you can sail the 7 seas for copies of some of them, but I wouldn't rely on it. Each book's going to cost you about £50 new, and you're going to need at least 4 of them. Pop that in your first maintenance budget at about £250, just to be on the safe side. Also, check on eBay or Facebook Marketplace in the area around your university, because last year's freshers might be trying to sell their old books for cheap. You should also do the same when you're done with your books as well. Finally, entertainment. Going out is expensive, even if you go to Spoons or the Unibar. Make sure you've got alternatives at home that you can work with. In the description, I've got an affiliate link to a great deal on 6 months of Amazon Prime Student. With it, you can access free overnight or same-day shipping for emergency items, as well as access to the whole Prime Video library, the Amazon Music library, and depending on the time of year, maybe even access Kindle Unlimited. As I release this, it's 6 months long for free, followed by about $4.99 a month afterwards. And it will save you paying extra for Netflix, Spotify, and even some extra university books through Kindle. The price is almost half what I was paying when I was a student, so you're actually getting a really good bargain. And if Prime Student isn't including Kindle Unlimited when you sign up, I'll also put a link to an additional student deal just for that in the description. Now, I'm not promising this just because of the affiliate link. If you, as I said before, if you sign up, I maybe make a few pence off the back end of it. If you don't, that's up to you. I'm promoting this because it's actually genuinely the best all-in-one deal for home entertainment for you as a student, and it has been for a really long time. If you do sign up, as I said, Amazon might give me like a tiny percentage, but you can kind of think of it as a little tip for the advice that you don't have to pay yourself. And if Prime Video isn't what you're looking for, my next best suggestion is YouTube Premium. I'm also not being paid for this because I use it myself. I get ad-free YouTube, and I almost never watch real TV these days, as well as YouTube Music. They have a student plan for about $7.99 a month. Also, make sure you have money-saving apps and extensions installed on your browser and your phone. These are things like Honey and Cooper that are good for the PC, and you'll eventually find plenty of apps with student discounts for things like takeaways and clothes as you go through university. They're often advertised around campus. Your bank might also have a cashback scheme, so you should check that regularly and opt in. You might never use the things that are there, but you won't remember to activate the cashback when you're in the store, so it's best just to activate them all when they pop up every month. In fact, talking of phones, shop around for a good deal on your phone plan. You can get unlimited calls, texts, and data on giffgaff for about a tenner a month. And I'm going to say with almost absolute certainty, you're going to get handed a pack of playing cards with a giffgaff SIM card in it during Freshers Week. I think I've still got about 30 of them just kicking around my house somewhere. In fact, have a check in the comments. If I find one when I move in the next few weeks, I'll drop a comment saying, just found a giffgaff pack, anyone wants it, and I'll send it to you for nothing. Finally, never fall into the trap of thinking you've got spare money until you get to the next maintenance payment, even if you are working. And even when you do, don't splurge it on a crazy holiday. Shop around and go somewhere cheap and cheerful. I've had all the best holidays of my life using an app called Holiday Pirates. I spent a week in Poland for £250 without staying in a hostel, and I had a week split between Sweden and Denmark for under £200. They both included flights and accommodation, so I'll put a link to that app in the description below as well. In fact, here's another thank me later tip. When you get to the end of your maintenance grant period, when you've got the next one coming up, take anything you've got left over and invest it. I call this one of those thank me later tips because you're going to leave uni with a bunch of money that you didn't think about at the time. Now, I recommend opening a Revolut account. Don't be tempted to buy crypto, but invest in the odd fiver into shares into big, stable firms like Apple or Microsoft can actually get you real returns by the time you finish uni. I've got shares in companies that I literally bought by using them as a digital change bar, and they've all grown since I was at uni. Tip number 6 is to choose your friends wisely. Okay, so earlier I said that you can't choose your first year housemates, but you can choose your friends. As I've kept reiterating during this video, studying has to be your first priority. If you've got someone in your circle of friends that's going through a particularly tough time, really consider how that affects you, especially if it starts to become a toxic pattern. No matter how much you'll want to help them because you're a good person, there comes a time when the emotional investment and the time investment hurts you more than it helps them. Only you can judge when that is, but when it does, you need to prioritize your goals and step back to prevent your well-being. You've got a degree to study for. You haven't got time to deal with the 50th time that Jenny got horrendously drunk, started a fight with her boyfriend. I know the girl code tells you have to agree with her rather than telling her that she's the problem, but that's hours of time that you're going to waste because she's not going to learn. Actually, talking of relationship drama, listen, there's going to be a time when you spot that cute, mysterious philosophy student from across the library and get the urge to throw yourself at them. We've all been there. Make a choice about relationships wisely. And remember, we're all adults at university. There's no shaming here. If you decide you want to have a bunch of one-night stands to fill a void, or maybe 2 or 3 if you're lucky, it's all good. If you just need human contact with no ties, you're winning. If you aren't that type of person, maybe a casual friend with benefits is better for your schedule and level of commitment than a relationship. Just make sure you're clear on the boundaries early on and be prepared to walk away if either of you catches feelings. I've been here and it sucked because we never had the boundaries conversation. Or if you do meet someone that gets semi-serious, protect your education first. Always set your boundaries and make sure they're clear that you're focusing on studying right now. They are not and cannot be your number one priority, and you cannot be theirs. Some people really can't handle being told that, so it's best to find out early, because it's better to end things after a couple of dates because they can't handle your commitments than risk going through a huge breakup during exams. Again, trust me. Tip number 7, and this is actually the most important tip of them all. Have fun. You only get one first year of university, and even with my warnings, you can still have fun whilst being safe and sensible. You're going to learn so much about yourself and your subject. You're going to meet as many fantastic human beings as you allow yourself to. Be yourself. This isn't school. Nobody is going to judge you for how you dress or talk or act or who you love. And the people who might are always too afraid to say anything. Universities aren't cliquey. Speak your mind. Don't be afraid to have opinions. Universities are places for developing knowledge and thought. If you've got something to say, speak up. Whether that's asking questions in class or protesting social injustice, you have a voice. Use it. Be brave. Be bold. Take this from me as someone who's a little bit older that shared the same experience that you're about to have very recently. 3 years feels like a long time. It isn't. It's nothing. You'll hear people say life is short, but university is even shorter. Find the positives in every class, every person, every moment, and even every boring essay. Spend 5 minutes every day before you go to bed thinking about the positives from that day. Write them down in a notebook. You will have bad days, but that notebook will remind you that one bad day doesn't change the hundreds of good ones. Love yourself, in the way that your family and friends do, unconditionally. You aren't perfect, and that's why you're perfect just the way you are. If you've made it this far, tell me what university you're attending in the comments below. Who knows, you might even make a friend before you get to university. If you need someone to talk to, I've got a Discord where you can come and talk about anything you've seen in this video or anything on this channel. It's shared with my gaming channel, but anyone coming from there is also going to be good people. I'm in there every day, so you can literally ask me for advice directly, and the link is in the description. If you want to see more from this channel, please consider subscribing. As I said in the intro, we discuss legal issues and queer themes here. There's going to be the odd memes video or media review just to help break up the monotony of reading 200 pages of a contract textbook before Monday. And I'll be releasing a special video on A-level results day, August 14th, to help you through the emotional turmoil of that day. Even if you aren't going to be sticking around, please hit the like button if you found these tips helpful, because it helps the YouTube algorithm to pass these tips on to others. Thank you for watching, and if you're coming back, I'll see you very soon for another video.